There is a stillness that lies beneath all things, a quiet, unshakable foundation untouched by chaos or noise. In Buddhism, this stillness is not something to be created or achieved. It is always present, like the calm bottom of a deep ocean, even when the surface is stormy. Inner peace begins not by adding something new to our lives, but by uncovering what was always there. When we stop chasing distractions and sit quietly, we begin to sense this deeper silence. It is not absence, it is presence. The world may whirl around us, but in that space of stillness, we begin to see clearly. The thoughts that once dominated us seem to lose their weight. The stories we tell ourselves dissolve into quiet observation. This stillness is not passive. It is alive. It listens, receives, and holds. The Buddha often spoke of the unconditioned, the timeless quality within us that exists beyond desire, fear, and striving. This is the doorway to peace. And unlike worldly peace, which depends on circumstances, this peace is unconditional. It does not rise and fall with fortune. It waits for us to remember it. To begin the journey inward is not to withdraw from life, but to meet it more fully. In the silence beneath all things, we find a refuge that is always open, always kind, and always home. The mind is like a river, always flowing, always changing. In Buddhism, peace does not come from stopping the current, but from learning to sit by its banks and observe. We are taught to become the watcher of thoughts, not their prisoner. Each thought, feeling, or impulse is simply a visitor, coming, staying briefly, and leaving again. When we cling to thoughts, identifying with them as me or mine, we suffer. But when we observe without attachment, a subtle shift occurs. We no longer ride every wave. We watch the waves roll in, roll out. A thought of anger arises. We see it, we don't judge it, we don't act on it, and then it fades. A fear surfaces. We breathe, we feel it, we let it go. This practice of mindful awareness is at the heart of Buddhist meditation. It teaches us that we are not our thoughts. We are the space they pass through. As we deepen this awareness, we create a distance between ourselves and our inner chatter. In that space, peace arises, not from controlling the mind, but from letting it be. Observing without attachment is not indifference. It is a loving, clear-eyed witnessing of our experience. It allows us to respond rather than react. It gives us the freedom to choose stillness again and again, regardless of what arises in the mind. Amid the whirlwind of thoughts, the breath remains steady, quiet, and faithful. In Buddhist practice, the breath is not just a bodily function. It is a sacred anchor that roots us in the present moment. It is always available, always true. When we bring our attention gently to the breath, we return to now, and now is the only place peace can live. Inhale, exhale. These simple movements can reveal an entire universe. The breath doesn't argue, doesn't rush. It doesn't dwell in the past or reach for the future. It simply is. By observing the breath, its rhythm, its depth, the sensation of air passing through nose or chest, we quiet the mind without force. We don't need to chase calm. We allow it. The Buddha himself taught anapanasati, mindfulness of breathing, as a direct path to insight and serenity. The breath becomes our companion in meditation, our refuge in moments of fear, our guide back to ourselves when we're lost in thought. It teaches patience, subtlety, and surrender. More than anything, the breath reminds us, we are alive. Not in theory but here, right now. And this life, in its raw, breathing form, is sacred. In each conscious breath, we are given the gift of returning, again and again, to the peace that never left us, only waited for us to notice. Everything changes. This is not a cause for despair. It is the very key to liberation. In Buddhism, the truth of impermanence, anicca, is central. All things arise and pass away. Emotions, relationships, seasons, even our own bodies. When we resist this truth, we suffer. But when we accept it, something extraordinary happens. We are set free. Peace begins not in clinging to what we love or pushing away what we fear, but in seeing clearly that all things are temporary. The joy we chase, the pain we avoid, they are both like clouds moving across the sky. To hold them tightly is to fight the nature of reality. To let them pass is to move in harmony with life. When we embrace impermanence, we become less reactive. A moment of anger no longer defines us. A passing sorrow no longer overwhelms us. We learn to rest in a deeper place, one that does not rise and fall with every wave. We stop chasing permanence in a world that cannot offer it. Instead of fearing loss, we begin to savor presence. Each moment becomes more precious. Each breath, each smile, each quiet night becomes enough. And in this awareness, peace is no longer something distant or abstract. It becomes the natural response to seeing things as they truly are, fleeting, beautiful, and free. True peace is not found by retreating from others but by opening the heart to them. In Buddhism, compassion, karu, is not just a noble ideal, it is a practical, transformative force. When we cultivate compassion, we dissolve the barriers that separate us from one another and from ourselves. In that softening, inner peace naturally begins to bloom. Often, the mind is filled with judgment, of others, of ourselves. We replay mistakes, dwell on failures, close off our hearts out of fear. But compassion asks something different. It asks us to look at suffering, not to turn away from it, but to meet it with kindness. Whether it's our own pain or someone else's, we practice being present with it, without resistance or blame. This practice is powerful. When we stop seeing pain as a problem to fix and start holding it with gentle awareness, it transforms. We learn to offer ourselves the same care we would give a dear friend. This self-compassion is not weakness, it is the courage to stand with ourselves in truth. As compassion grows, it becomes easier to forgive, to listen, to connect. The walls we built to protect ourselves become unnecessary. And in this open space, we find something we never expected: peace. A peace that includes everything, even the suffering, and responds with love instead of fear. We spend much of our lives trying to manage the uncontrollable, planning, predicting, resisting. But the deeper we look, the more we realize, control is an illusion. Life moves by its own rhythm. The more tightly we grip it, the more it slips through our fingers. Buddhism teaches that real peace comes not from controlling life, but from releasing our need to. This surrender is not defeat. It is wisdom. When we let go of trying to force outcomes, we open ourselves to the present moment just as it is. We begin to trust that we don't need to know what's next to be okay. The mind, once obsessed with fixing and solving, can rest. Letting go doesn't mean apathy. It means accepting the limits of our power and focusing instead on our response. We can't control what happens, but we can choose how we meet it, with grace, with presence, with an open heart. That is where peace lives. The Buddha taught that clinging is the root of suffering. We cling to ideas, identities, outcomes. But when we soften our grip, we find space for life to unfold naturally and for us to meet it with calm. In letting go, we don't lose ourselves. We discover who we are without the fear, without the struggle. And that discovery is peaceful, gentle, and free. In a world filled with noise, both outer and inner, silence becomes revolutionary. Not the awkward silence that demands to be filled, but the deep, nourishing quiet that invites presence. In Buddhism, silence is not emptiness. It is the spaciousness in which truth reveals itself. When we stop speaking, when we stop reacting, we begin to hear in a different way. We hear the breath, the rustle of wind, the heartbeat of the moment. More importantly, we begin to hear ourselves, not the chattering mind, but the deeper, quieter voice that only emerges in stillness. It is the voice of awareness, of clarity, of truth. Intentional silence is a powerful practice. Whether in meditation, walking alone in nature, or simply sitting without distractions, we allow the surface noise to settle. What arises may be uncomfortable at first, restlessness, boredom, old emotions, but if we stay, something shifts. The silence becomes a mirror, showing us what is real beneath all our masks. In this sacred quiet, we remember we are not our worries, not our achievements, not the roles we play. We are something simpler, deeper. Silence doesn't give us new answers. It removes the clutter so we can see what was always true. And in that seeing, peace arises, not loud, not dramatic, but steady and unwavering like a mountain at dawn. The world outside will always move. Storms will come, news will shock, people will change. Buddhism does not promise to fix the world, but it does offer us a way to meet it differently. Through stillness, awareness, compassion, and surrender, we discover a peace that the world cannot give, and therefore cannot take away. Living peacefully doesn't mean escaping life. It means participating in it with a calm heart and clear mind. We still face challenges, make decisions, experience pain. But we're no longer thrown off balance by every shift. We become like a tree rooted deep in the earth. Its branches may sway, but its foundation holds firm. This inner peace becomes our compass. It guides how we speak, how we act, how we listen. When someone lashes out, we pause. When fear rises, we breathe. When joy arrives, we savor it fully without clinging. We learn to move with life, not against it. In the Buddhist view, peace is not an end goal, it is a way of being. And the more we practice, the more natural it becomes. Like a well-worn path through the forest, it becomes easier to follow, even when storms rage overhead. We may not be able to calm the world, but we can calm our hearts. And from that stillness, we respond, not with fear, but with love. Not with resistance, but with wisdom. This is how we live peacefully in a chaotic world, by choosing peace, moment after moment, breath after breath. Now, let the words fall away. There is nothing more to understand, nothing more to figure out. Just breathe. Feel the gentle rhythm of life moving through you, soft, steady, effortless. You have traveled through teachings of stillness, compassion, impermanence, and surrender. And now you are here, in this moment, completely. Let the silence wrap around you like a soft blanket. Feel the ground beneath you, the air touching your skin, the quiet space between each heartbeat. There is nowhere else to go. Nothing else to be. You are enough. Right now. Peace does not arrive with fireworks or fanfare. It arrives like the sun rising behind the clouds, slow, steady, certain. It doesn't need to be chased. It only needs to be remembered. And now, you remember. Let this peace move through you like warm water, washing away the day's weight. The stories you carry, the thoughts that clamor for attention, they can rest now. There is a deeper rhythm calling you home. It is soft, it is kind, and it is always here. As you sink into this quiet, feel yourself returning, not to an idea, not to a goal, but to your true self. The self that watches with love. The self that breathes with the trees. The self that needs nothing to be whole. Stay here as long as you like. In the silence. In the stillness. In the truth of your being. Let the world spin as it will. You are rooted, you are safe, you are free.